Hello and welcome to Tobysblogs. For my assignment in the Easter, I have to read a book, or several books to be honest, and one of these books I've got to read is The Wind and the Willows. So I'm going to read for you, as a special treat, the chapter 1 from The Wind and the Willows. And just want to say before I start reading this, that I haven't read this before, so reading this will be the first time I've ever read it in my entire life. This is The Wind and the Willows by Kenneth Grahame. As he gazed, something bright and small seemed to twinkle down in the heart of it, vanished, then twinkled once more, like a tiny star. But it could hardly be a star in such an unlikely situation, and it was too glittering and small for a glowworm. Then as he looked, it winked at him, and so declared itself to be an eye, and a small face began gradually to grow up around it, like a frame round a picture. A brown little face with whiskers, a grave round face, with the same twinkle in its eye that had first attracted his notice, small neat ears, and thick silky hair. It was a water rat. Then the two animals stood and regarded each other cautiously. "Hello, Mole," said the water rat. "Hello, Rat," said the Mole. "Would you like to come over?" inquired the rat presently. "Oh, it's all very well to talk," said the Mole, rather pettishly. He beginning new to a river and riverside life and its ways. "What lies over there?" asked the Mole, waving a paw towards a background of woodland that darkly framed the water meadows on one side of the river. "Oh, that's just the wild wood," said the rat, shortly. "We don't go there very much. We're river bankers." Aren't they very nice people in there?" said the Mole, a trifle nervously. "Well," replied the rat, "let me see. The squirrels are all right, and the rabbits, some of them. But the rabbits are a mixed lot. And then there's Badger, of course. He lives right in the heart of it. Wouldn't live anywhere else, either, if you paid him to do it. Dear old Badger. Nobody interferes with him. They'd better not," he added significantly. "Why? Why, who should interfere with him?" asked the Mole. "Well, of course, there are the others," explained the rat in a hesitating sort of way. "Weasels and stoats and foxes and so on. They're all right in a way. I'm very good friends with them, past the time of day when we meet, and all that. But they break out sometimes. There's no denying it. And then, well, you can't really trust them, and that's the fact." The Mole knew well that it is quite against animal etiquette to dwell on possible trouble ahead, or even to allude to it, so he dropped the subject. "And beyond the wild wood again?" he asked. "Well, it's all blue and dim, and one sees what may be hills, or perhaps they mayn't, and some things like the smoke of towns, or it's only cloud drift. Beyond the wild woods comes the wild world," said the rat, and that's something that doesn't matter, even to you or me. I've never been there, and I'm never going, nor you either." "Greedy beggars," he observed, making for the provender. "Why didn't you invite me, Ratty?" "This was an impromptu affair," explained the rat. By the way, this is my friend Mr. Mole. Proud, I'm sure, said the otter, and the two animals were friends forthwith. Such a rumpus affair, continued the otter. All the world seems to be out on the river today. I came up the backwater to try and get a moment's peace, and then stumbled upon you fellows. At least I beg your pardon. I don't exactly mean that, you know. Then a rustle behind them, proceeding from the hedge, wherein last year's leaves still clung thick, and Striply head, with high shoulders behind it, it pierced forward on them. Come on, old badger, shouted the rat. The badger trotted forward to a pace of 2, and then grunted, company, and then turned his back and disappeared from view. That's just the sort of fellow he is, observed the disappointed rat. Simply hates society. Now he shan't see any more of him today. Well, tell us, who's out on the river? Toad's out for one, replied the otter. In his brand new wagga boat, new togs, new everything. The two animals looked at each other and laughed. Once it was nothing, but sailing, said the rat. Then was tired of that, and took to punting. Nothing would please him more but to punt all day and every day, and a nice mess of it he made too. Last year it was houseboating, and we all had to go and stay with him in his houseboat and pretend we liked it. He was going to spend the rest of his life in that houseboat. It was all the same. Whatever he takes up, he gets tired of it and starts on something fresh. Such a good fellow too, remarked the otter reflectively. But no stability, especially in a boat. For where they sat, they could get a glimpse of the main stream across the island that separated them, and just then a wagga boat flashed into view. A rower, a short, stout figure, splashing badly and rolling a good deal, but working his hardest. The rat stood up and hailed him, but Toad, for it was he, shook his head and settled sternly to his work. He'll be out of the boat in a minute if he rolls like that, said the rat, sitting down again. Of course he will, chuckled the otter. Did I ever tell you the good old story about Toad and the lock keeper? Hello, this extract is from The Wind and the Willows, The Open Road. So far, the Ratty and Mole have met up with Toad, and they've gone off on a trip in a cart. Ratty doesn't really want to go in the cart and go on a trip, but Mole, being in a hole for most of his life and not experienced most things, is really excited about going on a trip and exploring the big wide world. Toad had a massive fixation with boats, but he soon grew tired of that, and now he's got a massive fixation for carts. They were driving along in the cart when this huge motor car comes from behind them and knocks the whole of the cart into a ditch, completely destroying it. We join the story. The rat danced up and down in the road, simply transported with passion. You villains, he shouted, shaking both his fists. You scoundrels, you highwaymen, you road hogs. I have the law on you, I'll report you, I'll take you through the courts. His homesickness had quite slipped away from him, and for the moment he was the skipper of the canary-coloured vessel driven on the shore by the reckless jockeying of the rival mariners, and he was trying to recollect all the fine and biting things he used to say to the masters of the stream launches when their wash, as they drove to the near bank, used to the floods with the parlour carpet at home. Toad sat straight down in the middle of the dusty road, his legs stretched out before him, and he stared fixedly in the direction of the disappearing motor car. He breathed short,
His face wore a placid, satisfied expression, and at intervals faintly murmuring, "Poop, poop." The mole was busy trying to quiet the horse, which he succeeded in doing after a time. Then he went to look at the cart, on its side in the ditch. It was indeed a sorry sight. Panels and windows smashed, axles hopelessly bent, one wheel off, sardine tins scattered over the wide world, and the bird in the birdcage sobbing pitifully and calling to be let out. The rat came to help him, but their united efforts were not significant to right the car. "Hi, Toad," they cried. "Come and bear us a hand, can't you?" Toad never answered a word, or budged from his seat in the road. So they went to see him and see what was the matter with him. They found him in a sort of trance, a happy smile on his face, his eyes still fixed on the dusty wake of their destroyer. At intervals he was still heard to murmur, "Poop, poop." The rat shook him by the shoulder. "Are you coming to help us, Toad?" he demanded sternly. "Glorious sight. Glorious, sterling sight," murmured Toad, never offering to move. "The poetry of motion, the real way to travel, the only way to travel. Here today, in the next week, tomorrow. Villages skipped, towns and cities jumped, always somebody else's horizon. Oh bliss, oh poop poop, oh my, oh my." "Oh, stop being an ass, Toad," cried the mole despairingly. And to think I never knew," went on the Toad in a dreamy monotone. "All those years wasted that lie behind me, I never knew, never even dreamt, but now that I know, now that I fully realise, oh, what a flowery track lies spread before me henceforth. What dust clouds shall spring up behind me as I spend on my reckless way? What carts shall I fling carelessly into the ditch, into the wake of my magnificent onset? Horrid little carts, common carts, canary-coloured carts." "What are we going to do with him?" asked the mole of the water rat. "Nothing at all," replied the rat firmly, "because there is really nothing to be done. You see, I know him from old. He is now possessed. He has got a new craze, and it always takes him that way. It is the first stage. He'll continue like that for days now, like an animal walking into a happy dream, quite unless of all the practical purposes. Never mind him. Let's go and see what's to be done about the cart." The Wind and the Willows. Thank you.